I think we had some technical difficulties with our live stream. For some reason, we got shut off. So yeah, don't worry. This is gonna be somewhere it's gonna activate. I'm live already. It's just that I think I have something wrong. Something's wrong with that. So don't worry. We are currently live. Yeah, no, I am currently yeah. So yeah, I know. I had a problem with the live stream software, so I really apologize, guys. But I think you guys probably got cut off. So do you think? Okay, let me read some of the questions we have right now. Do you think if the Dems don't win the Senate, some Republicans will work with Biden on certain things? I think that's definitely gonna work. That's gonna happen. Your Susan Collins, your Lisa Murkowski's, those type of people are probably going to be the ones that are going to invoke change. Those are the people that are going to work with Biden. So let's just go quickly back to what I was talking about here. So, I mean, right now this is changing quickly, and we're getting a little bit more favorable results for the Republican Party as we go on. Currently, there is a very big chunk of votes that just got in. We have 4% of the vote reporting. This is big, guys. And 65 to 35. Again, we're getting a lot of these big areas. We're getting some of the Columbus suburbs, but most importantly, Atlanta. We have already some Fulton County 22% reporting. Guys, this is huge. That's something that something is going to be big. So, currently on our screen, so we have our friend here, Gabriel Wensloff, is asking about what's on the screen. So currently we have the results by county. We're seeing on this map that we have votes coming in. So from this big Democratic area in Fulton County in Georgia, currently Raphael Warnock has a big lead, and we're gonna go check on the Perdue Ossof race. But this is an 81%. We have 22% in the largest county of the state. This is gonna give them the votes early, but later on, it's going to be a numbers game. That's how it always is, as we get earlier votes and then later votes. Kelly Lefleur is behind. I want to check. I think they're actually, I think they're overperforming their shift from November. Let's check on the shift from November. So, for example, we still don't have those results, but decisive lead. Warnock has a big lead, but everything else is pretty tight. But yeah, we're getting a lot more votes. The Democrats have taken a big lead. And this is important again. We are getting the same balance. Now there's a 2% difference, guys. I think we will be seeing a shift when it comes to these results. And I think there's going to be a difference. I think Perdue's going to win his race. I think Warnock is going to win his race. Now, let's go down to the Perdue to Ossof race. So here we can see that the results are a little bit more favorable for the Republicans in this race from what the results that we're getting. And if I'm correct, that would be the votes from here. It's a little bit, I guess, less tight in this race compared to the other one. So results by county here, think Perdue might not be as far behind as Lefleur. So here it's 65 to 34.9. And then up here, it's 66. So yeah, it's a considerable difference. I think that's important. We have a very big, interesting thing there. So, do you think Dems will win 2022 if Republicans are in control of the Senate again? I don't think so, especially if Biden's in office. And then you also asked, sorry, guys, can there be a second runoff? No, these results are final. This is what happens. Whoever gets a majority of the votes, because there's only two candidates, there has to be a majority of the vote, does end up winning the election. In 2022, Democrats might win in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, Tennessee. That is true. Now, I think it's something that we have to analyze, though, because those seats are going to be contested, but I don't know who they can run. And the Republicans, so probably those seats will probably flip. Who would you vote if you could vote in Georgia runoffs? Yeah, I don't mind you asking that. So I would definitely vote. I mean, I would rather have Warnock and Perdue. I'm not sure because I really like Jon Ossof, but I would like to keep my ticket balanced. But I don't really like Kelly Lefleur that much. So I would say I would vote Perdue, Warnock, maybe. Maybe I would vote Ossof to Lefleur. I'm not sure. And if you're comfortable answering, what's your opinion on the voter fraud claims? Right now with the voter fraud claims, I think, do they have legitimate claims of voter fraud? Yes. Now, is it to the extent they are saying to overturn the election? No. Let's face it, every single election in American history will end up having voter fraud at some extent, whether it be widespread or whether it be pretty much barely anything. There is some irregularities. There's not necessarily fraud, but overall, I think it's the Republicans are shooting themselves in the foot a little bit. And this is coming from me, someone who maybe wanted Trump to win a little bit more than Biden. So I will leave you guys at that. I'm independent who like Trump, so that's something to keep in mind. So yeah, you guys, we're seeing a voter split right now. It's pretty interesting to watch. Ossof is getting a little bit less votes than Perdue. And again, this goes to what I said in my video. I don't know how many of you watched my Senate video, but I was talking about how if there was going to be a voter split, I think Warnock was going to get the better side of them. 7% of the vote in. Again, it's still not looking good for the Republicans. Right now, for example, in the Warnock race, they're expecting Warnock to do better than Lefleur. Yeah, we're starting to get a lot of results. Now, on the Ossof-Perdue race, Ossof is still the favorite. I mean, according to this forecast that changes live, but it's interesting to watch. I want to check out this because as the results come in, it's going to be interesting to watch. You see, Warnock has a little bit bigger chance of winning tonight than Ossof. Warnock versus Lefleur, we see it's pretty much a toss-up right now. Warnock does have a slightly bigger chance of winning than Lefleur, and we're starting to get a lot of the votes in. So we got a lot of it. So 1 minute ago, we just got a. You see, this is something that's continuously happening with all the votes we're getting in. We see here, for example, the Democrats were expected to perform at a bar. They overpassed that bar by 4% here in this chunk of votes. In this bar, it was for the Republicans, they underperformed by 1%. And here, I mean, this is a very big bad thing for them. They underperformed with 100,000 votes by 5%. That is considerable. That's 5,000 votes. And in a close race, 5,000 votes is a lot. So let me see what I have in the chat. Oops. I'm falling behind a little bit with the chat. Sorry, guys. I'm a Democrat, so I'm not a fan of her anyways, but Lefleur comes across as so robotic. That's true because I remember in the campaigning, Perdue had some life at least. I mean, he wasn't a robot, but Lefleur, I don't know if you guys, I started cracking up when I saw it because Lefleur was like, hello, Georgia. I have an announcement to make. In that, when she announced that she was going to object to the results tomorrow, she looks so robotic. And personally, as an independent, I don't like that. I kind of like David Perdue attitude, although I really like Jon Ossof. So it's hard to choose in those races. But I want a balance of power because truly, I want one of the Republicans to win and one of the Democrats to win. And I don't like Lefleur. Not huge about Perdue, but he's better than Lefleur. So that's my reasoning. Do you agree that the Dems are at the top? Biden didn't try to rig the election. I wouldn't agree with that. I think that would be a very far-fetched idea. Kelly Lefleur loses from 0 to 0.5, Perdue will win by 2%. I think that is a fair assumption, Bree. Let's go back in here and check. You see, Warnock is not doing – he's doing very well. He's overperforming. And, as we get these results, it's becoming more and more apparent. So, I mean, Warnock is doing a lot better than Ossof. Yeah, I mean, it truly is not because maybe Warnock's a better candidate. It's just Lefleur is such bad of a candidate compared to Perdue. Now, my question is, yeah, you see, we're getting those results and they're leaning more to the left. Here, it wasn't that bad. We're getting a lot more votes in. I'm going to have to go check again. But it's not as big. Here was 5%. Here's only 4%. The underperformed by 2%. I have to go check again. But let's just check on the results right now. The current live results, again, they're narrowing down a little bit as we get more votes, but it's a 2% shift. Ossof plus 19, Warnock plus 21. This is with 8% of the vote reporting. Again, mostly from these very big Democratic counties, Fulton County and next door Douglas County, were getting votes in these Atlanta suburbs. A very big Atlanta suburb, Gwinnett County, we're seeing a very good performance by Raphael Warnock. So that's something that's interesting. A question about Georgia gubernatorial race. Do you think Stacey will run for governor? I think she will. Do you think that standing by Trump tomorrow, the senator from Wisconsin, so that would be Senator Johnson of Wisconsin, maybe be punished in the election in 2022? Maybe, but I think he might just choose to retire. But perhaps yes. Warnock staying in the lead from the start to finish. Let's see. They say Lefleur is super intelligent, but I don't know. Do you think? Okay, so with that, I mean, Lefleur, technically speaking, she's a smart person, but I don't know. Her political skills are not the best, to say the least. Do you think that the voter fraud claims would be viable to flip enough? No, of course not. And do you think that reps tried to rig elections if you think the Dems did? Not sure. I really don't think any election after 84 was really an election. Let's see. I think we just got more votes, guys. You know, guys, it's looking very good for Warnock. I mean, I know it's still early, but he's overperforming. And overall, Ossof is falling behind a little bit, but again, it might just be the Democrats. This is gonna be what we're gonna be majorly looking at. Warnock is increasing his percentage. I mean, 0.5, Ossof plus 0.4. Right now, they're the favorites. It's early on, but who knows? Chances of the election overturn? Absolutely not. They're gonna look. Tomorrow is gonna be something that's more ceremonial than not. I mean, they can object it. They can do whatever they want. But traditionally, for those of you that know, this happened in 2004, where California Senator Barbara Boxer and a representative from the state of Ohio, they objected to Ohio's results. Did they want to overturn the election? No. It's a different motive, I guess. Because again, technically speaking, it's not about overturning the election. They're looking at voter fraud, but that's besides the point. But what they did is that they were looking at the race and they wanted to bring light to, look, it's unfair that in Ohio, voters had to wait so long to vote. So they tried that. And what really happens after the object is just an hour of the debate on each side of why that should pass. And then the whole House votes or the whole Senate votes. And then at the end of the day, nothing's really going to happen. Northwest Georgia will vote Warnock. I don't remember clearly, but Ossof doesn't seem like an average Trojan. You know, it's kind of true, I guess. I mean, if you think about like Ossof, he's a lot different to the average Georgian in a way. Because, for example, Georgians are similar to Floridians, to Northern Floridians. And for those of you that don't know, I am from the state of Florida. And generally speaking, it's a more diverse group. Someone like Lefleur, it looks like a traditional Georgian. He is a traditional Georgian. But Ossof, he falls from a different range, I guess. Hey, UEP, what's up? Warnock seems like a Georgian for sure. What time is the certification tomorrow? I'm not sure, but most likely not, since a lot of these political things are done at noon, like official things, probably at noon. What's the first election you'll be able to vote in? I have to do the math. 2026 midterms, I think, because I would be turning 18 right in 2024. I would be turning 18, I think, 2025. So I wouldn't make it to that one, unfortunately, as much as I wish, because I really want to be part of your civic duty. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, right now, Ossof and Warnock, they're doing pretty well because I think we were expecting a little bit of we were expecting the Republicans to do better. It's so early, but still. You see, here, again, the Republicans underperforming heavily. I mean, this is definitely helping Warnock as we get more and more votes. Because again, we also have to remember how these elections are decided. By the mainstream media. The mainstream media calls this using the information. They expected something to go one way, and they start adding up the votes. They start doing all those things. So, essentially with that, right now it's looking more and more likely that Warnock might win because, look, this is not a great example, I guess. The votes that we just got were actually, yes, That is 28-26. The Republicans are underperforming. The Democrats are overperforming. That's going to be important because that's something that's going to really hurt them. So, yeah. In Atlanta, we have a lot of votes remaining. We have pretty decent amount of votes, but essentially, they say Warnock has a lead of 19. With the votes that are still to be counted, they expect Lefleur to have a lead of 1. And then after you average it out, I guess Warnock would still win. So that's why they're estimating. And here's the graph. At the beginning of the night, chances were pretty even, still very close. And then here, Warnock has shut up in the percentage chance of winning 56% to 44%. I think we're going to see Lefleur going down for the rest of the night. Now, for the Ossof-Perdue race, a lot closer. And Perdue is not falling as behind as we're seeing Lefleur. Lefleur is falling extremely behind. That is something that we have to look. I hope Ossof runs for president in 2032. It would be interesting to watch. Let's see. Ossof, like, he has to do something, though. He has no political experience. He's run campaigns. He has to win something first. Maybe he should run for House. Who knows? Ossof, I don't know if he's a native Georgian. If you were asking that. Let's see. So yeah, as we're seeing right now, it's becoming abundantly clear right now one big thing, and that is that the Republicans are doing pretty badly compared to what they were expected to do. Lefleur is pretty much riding not so strong because Lefleur currently is facing a very big problem, and that problem is that she has no real appeal to a lot of these moderate Georgians. She is pretty much if you think of like status quo, I guess rich status quo, that's what you think of Lefleur. She's been marketing it like that. She's been marketed like that, and even with an excited Trump base, if you look at some of the rallies that she's held, it's a dry rally. Even these Trump supporters who really support this candidate because he's endorsed by President Trump, they think that she's not that appealing because the mood in those rallies. Some Trump rallies, you would expect a little bit more spark and everyone would be excited. But if Warnock and Perdue were opponents, do you think Warnock could win? I think if Warnock and Perdue were opponents, I think Perdue would win. Do you think Ossof can do better with the rurals? Probably a little bit better, but it's not going to be super big. I will tell you this. I think that if Ossof was running in the other race, he would be guaranteed a victory. If Warnock was running in the other race, it would be tighter. I think Ossof is just running in the wrong race. These voter totals keep on changing. And every second that we move, Warnock is continuing to go more and more towards it. The needle's going more into his favor. Ossof is not falling behind, but here we have the log of all the votes that have been updated. We've gotten a pretty big chunk of votes. Again, very big bunch of votes that were expected to be Republican. Republicans are underperforming. You see, out of all the things that we saw, there's only been one point in the night where Lefleur has been in the favor to win. This is no good. For the Republican Party. So that's what I think. As someone who is moderate Republican myself, I don't really like Lefleur. And for a lot of moderate Republicans, I will tell you, I think they might think the same thing as you because, for example, I think that David Perdue is more like a moderate Republican, and maybe perhaps it's because Lefleur is more of a Trumpist. This is how I'm going to address people that like politicians that like Trump or are like Trumpists. That's going to be the term. I know people use different terms or Trumpers. I'm going to use Trumpist. I think it sounds better. But Lefleur is more of a Trumpist than Perdue. Perdue appeals to a lot of these Atlanta suburban voters. And, I think maybe it was a mistake for Republicans to have nominated Lefleur over Collins. I think if Doug Collins was in this race, I think it would be an easy victory for him. He appeals to those of suburban voters. But Lefleur, she's out of touch, and she's like, I live in Florida, and even in Florida, I get a lot of the ads for like when I'm watching YouTube, for example, or doing certain things. I see, for example, the way they're marketing Kelly Lefleur is she's completely out of touch. She does not know what she is doing because her husband is now a billionaire. So that's a narrative that's being run there. Interesting to watch. Let's see. I mean, yeah, these results are not too good looking. I mean, for the what the heck happened here? Yep, this race started narrowing down a lot because I think we just got a big batch of Republican votes. Let's see what just happened. Yeah, we just got a ton of Republican counties. Holy crap. Yeah, for some reason, with this new updates of votes, again, interesting. Warnock is only +3, also +6. I think it's just because of the rural factor. Again, that's interesting. Right now, it's tilting Warnock, though, for that victory possibility, which is interesting. I mean, that was a very big just influx of votes, and I think, again, those most likely are from the Republican counties. Right now, they currently have the races tilting to Warnock and tilting to Ossof, and this is very big, guys. I mean, we are getting an idea of what this race is looking like. It's looking very positively for the Democrats tonight. You see, this is what continues to really not do good for the Republicans. We see them underperform every single little thing. We see them doing a lot worse. You know, I think Perdue wins re-election. I think Warnock wins election. I must agree with that. I think that's what we're looking at right now. And I think it's moving more in the Democrats' favor. I think that's right, Jonathan. Yeah, we have a lot of votes. Again, to consider, there's going to be probably a big influx of Republican votes at the end. However, with the votes that we have already, let's just go through them. It's not looking that good because, let's wait, 36,000 votes. 32 to 31. That's a 1% difference, but that 1% costs them 500 votes. And all these little big changes, they end up adding up to thousands of votes. Here's almost 100,000 votes. 1%, 700. So we already have 1,500 there. Here it was expected margin, nothing changes. Here you can get like 10 votes. Here you lost 2%, you lost 2,000 votes right there. Here, huge. 5,000 votes lost here for the Republican Party. You see, doing the math, it's looking very good for Warnock. Perdue's losing a lot of votes. Now, with the results, I guess, at the rural levels, someone like Perdue, like Warnock might not do as well. So that's something interesting to see. But yeah, the Needles were almost at +1% for Warnock. You know, it's looking very, very good for them. Yeah, I mean, I'm actually kind of surprised that this early on, I guess that Warnock is because going into these races, I heavily expected, I really heavily expected, to see Warnock not do so well because he's not a politician type like Ossof or like Perdue, and that's a race of the outsiders. Think about that because Warnock is an outsider in Georgia politics, essentially, because he really hasn't run for anything in the past. So that's the first thing. I thought that Lefleur was going to have a little bit easier chance, but as it looks right now, Ossof is probably maybe Ossof will pull it off as well, but I think David Perdue might end up pulling it out. Do you think Perdue will end up backing Trump tomorrow? Well, just so you know, Perdue's actually not in the Senate right now. His term expired 2 days ago, so he won't be voting tomorrow. He's out of office. He is closed for business. Perdue is not the incumbent senator of the United States for Georgia. He was the former senator for Georgia at this point because he's not in the Senate. So he won't vote tomorrow. I don't know if a lot of you guys knew that. Warnock will get the Atlanta Senate areas, probably. Not even touching the suburbs and rural areas. Let's see what happens. I could see Ossof winning, possibly. Yeah, I think at this point, Warnock is definitely going to win. Now, for Ossof, I think probably not. You know what's interesting, though? Ossof is the one that has been pulling a lot of the weight campaigning. He's been the one that has been moving a lot of the votes. And I think it's interesting to see Warnock be doing a lot better. Guys, if you guys can you please give a huge thumbs up to this live stream, as we can reach more people with this, and we have a more detailed conversation with more people in the chat, which is always interesting. See, Lefleur plus 0.3. Yeah, we just got an update, guys. Again, these votes that we have, it's not looking so great right now for the Republicans. It's looking more and more Democratic, and of course, we're expecting this. Early vote numbers were through the sky for the Democrats. And what else can we say? Here you see constantly, every single one, without failure, we see the Republicans pretty much fail to meet or surpass expectations. But Kelly said, so the difference is that Kelly is in a special Senate seat. So she really doesn't, her term doesn't end until the new senator is sworn in. So that's the difference. But Perdue, his term ended, right? And there's no vacancy, and Brian Kemp did not appoint him to be a special election. So I hope that kind of I hope that clears it up. So kind of just recapping it, guys. Essentially, Lefleur is there until the end of 2022. Like, this election didn't even have to happen. It happened because it had to, I guess, by law. But realistically speaking, Lefleur could be in office until January 2022. That would be when Senator Johnny Isakson's term expires. Perdue's term expired 2 days ago, so he's no longer in the Senate. So I hope you guys understand that. Lefleur would be, so that's why Perdue won't be voting, but I would expect him to vote with Trump if he did. So that's something that keep in mind. Is this more low stakes than November? I would say this is actually more high stakes than November, because truly, in November we got a new president, sure, but what else? I mean, the Senate, like, Biden could be president, but the Republican Senate is, if he gets the Democratic Senate, it's going to be easy skates through the presidency, easier skates, because it's still going to be challenges with that slim of the House majority. But Biden, he needs to have the support. Without it, he's just not going to be able to. Well, if the Senate just exploded at this point, nothing mattered then. That's true. The Democrats are likely to end up controlling the White House, the Senate, and the House. Yeah, more likely than the Republicans controlling all three, because they lost those races. I want to ask you guys, while we're looking at these results coming in pretty much constantly, I don't know if a lot of you watch the House being sworn in live, but it was interesting watching those vote counts. And I remember at the end, there was like a slim possibility McCarthy was ahead. So we could have actually seen McCarthy become Speaker of the House, which is interesting. No one would have expected that. Yeah, I think we're probably going to end up seeing a Warnock victory, at least on that side of the race. Again, not looking too great. Warnock is performing very well tonight. I think that's something that cannot be undershadowed. It's important to see, though, that Warnock is doing so well. And guys, at the end of the day, it's gonna come down to a lot of different things. It's gonna come down to if Warnock is gonna be able to appeal in the masses to the voters in Atlanta. That's gonna be crucially important, because if he can, if he can get those votes, he can get a lot of the more, I guess, African-American heavy counties. Because again, at the end of the day, he's an African-American running in Georgia. If he is able to get those points at voters, I think he's going to be fine. And I think he's going to have to overperform heavily with them, but, I'm on the very northeast, close to China. Our property line actually on the state line. Interesting. What do you think about the race so far? Is Democrats doing better? Yes. I really think the Democrats are doing insanely tonight. So, something that's interesting to watch. And, I mean, yeah, Warnock is doing a lot better than expected. I think we're going to be able to make a call, not necessarily, but have a big idea before the stream ends. Because I'm not going to go all night because I can't. But I'll stay as long as I can. But by the end of the stream, I mean, yeah. Do you think Trump will attend the inauguration? I personally do not think he will do so. If he does, I mean, it's not going to be completely out of the picture, but I'm not sure. Let's see. Very, very interesting race right now that we have. And I think it's very important and crucial to notice that Warnock is doing very well tonight. 1% increase, I guess. And you see the margins are tightening up for Lefleur. I mean, things could happen, but here Warnock for the first time he underperformed the polls a little bit, or was he expected to do? But yet again, and actually, now that I'm looking at it with both of my eyes, no, it was 54%. So even though that, I mean, Warnock is still doing well. He underperformed a little bit, but we're still doing very well. I just noticed a 100,000 ballot drop for the Democrats in less time than it takes to cut 100. Let's see. Yeah, right there. Yeah, okay. So I think ultimately we're still waiting for a lot of votes. I think, of course, with what we have left, I mean, with what we have counted, so election day voting and early voting are still missing. I think with just that, Lefleur is going to have a pretty easy chance of recuperating a lot of the votes. When you add it up together, I think it's going to be easy to tell that Warnock is most likely. You see, and the odds, the win percentage over time, it's going down 59 to 41. Oh, is this what the race is at right now? I think it is. Yeah, let's check on the results with the votes. So in the Raphael Warnock Lefleur race, it's a 10-point difference right now. 55.9% to 44.1%, with about 90,000 votes different, with 772,000 votes reporting. And in the Ossof Perdue race, it's a lot tighter, if I'm correct. Yeah, it's a lot tighter here. Well, it's not really that much tighter, but it's a little bit less competitive, or more competitive, rather. John Ossof, 429,270 votes, to David Perdue's 341,686. About, again, a margin of 10%. It's about 9%, actually. Or 11%, that margin. So I think this margin it's a margin of 11% of both. We're just seeing the averages switch, I guess, maybe by 1/10 of a percentage point. So that's always interesting to watch. I can't see the Dems winning the Senate at this point. Last time was 2012. I think at the end of the day, even if they do win the Senate, technically speaking, it's not going to be that symbolic because, I mean, they're going to need – Joe Manchin will be – I saw a meme on Twitter. I don't know if UEP is still watching, but UEP posted this meme on his Twitter, on one of his other Twitters. And it was a meme talking about how if the two Democrats win, then who's going to be the president of the United States? It's not going to be Joe Biden, but it's going to be Joe Manchin because he's going to be the deciding vote in the Senate always. But it's over. You're a Republican, so you're not gloating. You think Dems will win the Senate? Yeah, I think at this point in time, we're looking at very, very a large possibility that does end up happening. And I think it's looking very well for Warnock. And you see, we're just getting the needle more and more on their side. Let's see. Yeah, 60% chance that Warnock wins. We're almost in the leaning Warnock. Yeah. Democrats are faring her better than expected in the absentee vote. That is truly what's helping them. It's a 10-point. It's 11. Okay, so Ossof is still doing a little bit worse. 20% in. I mean, the Republicans should be like screaming right now. They really have to get their stuff together. And I mean, these big Atlanta counties have a big amount of votes to count. And it's really going to come down to some of these suburbs. If those suburbs don't end up flipping, let's see if they have the Senate. Well, yeah, we have the exit polls. Perfect. So let's take a look at the exit polls on CNN. This is important. So again, this is important. So here we saw a little bit down for the Republicans. Okay, so where it matters, Atlanta suburbs, that's your battleground area. Unfortunately for the Republicans, they lost even more. If we compare these to the Senate ones, he was in 2020, I guess, in the presidential election, or not presidential election, but just regular Senate, not runoff election time frame. If these exit polls would like to load, if not, we'll just there it goes. 50% to 48. Let's compare that to right now to this race. This is important. Pay attention to this. Take a look at the exit polls. 50% to 48 in favor of the Democrats in the Atlanta suburbs compared to right now, 55% for Ossof, 45% for Perdue. That's a big shift. That's 5 points, and that's pretty much almost a percentage point statewide. That would be enough to shift. You see, the Democrats were able to tighten up this age group, and I mean the Democrats are just performing well. Party ID, Democrats, Republicans, they pretty much got their same thing, and independents are faring off with Ossof. So, again, interesting thing to see. Most moderates are siding with the Democrats by a big margin, guys. I mean, this is pretty big. I mean, there's less liberals out there, though. So a lot of these folks probably would have ended up voting Democrat anyways, but 63 to 37 with the moderates, it's interesting to see. Now, with race, 29% of the electorate right now, they expect the Black community. I would have expected a little more. If you take a look at the projected ones, I know that Let's Talk Elections, for example, used some that showed them to be 35% of the electorate. If that is the case, long gone are the Republicans. Although the Democrats are doing good with their other, Republicans are doing with others and with the white. And then Purdue's not doing that awful with Hispanics. With male, female, that's usually how it ends up being, but females end up being the biggest part of the electorate. So having a lead there is important. So urban, suburban areas, again, the Democrats have a little bit of an advantage here. It's tight here, but again, this is something that doesn't make sense based on what we just saw. U.S. military, barely, only a small percentage, so 18%. And then this gets more into other more in-depth questions. So I think those exit polls are interesting. And with that, I think it just becomes more apparent that I think we might be seeing a victory, I guess, for the Democrats. Warnock right now +1, also plus 0.7. Let's go to the log of votes. I think that's something that's going to be important to see as we progress to the night. Comparing this, so yeah, you see we're getting votes, but Lefleur is definitely underperforming. For example, it's not that bad, but it's still underperforming. And if we go to our live Georgia Senate election results, we're getting a lot of those results. +7, +7. It's narrowed down a little bit. With 20% of the vote in. So Lefleur is trailing by around 40,000. No, that's not 40,000 votes. What am I thinking? By about 6,000 votes. Is that the number? Yes. There's 60,000 votes. Lefleur is behind by 60,000 votes. Again, it's tilting towards Warnock. We're almost at the point where that would be a leaning race. Just the map again. It's also like expected. Atlanta and its suburbs pretty decently blue. We still have votes missing from Augusta, which is going to be interesting. In Columbus, I'm guessing we don't have too many votes from here. Yeah, this is a very big Democratic county, and we still have a lot of votes missing. So that's not going to be so good for the Republicans later on. And for the Perdue race, we have 20% reporting. Ossof just went up a little bit, but right now it's also a difference of around 9 points. So going to be interesting to see. It's tilting towards Ossof, a little bit less than Warnock's race. And I think Warnock is almost guaranteed to win at this point. And it's not looking too good for Perdue either, but looking better than Lefleur for sure. We're still getting a lot of votes, but if we take a look, I think this is important to see. We have only a little bit of votes reporting from each area, but for example, this county, we have pretty similar amounts to 2020 margin, November margin, 15.9, 43. You see, we're seeing, for example, the county has the most votes reporting. For example, the Republicans are definitely underperforming heavily. That's something that's really, really not so good for them. For example, we have counties that are fully reporting at this point almost. Webster County, for example. Perdue did a little bit better. Here, Lanier County, here's a lot less votes though. 43.7, you went down 3.7%. You went down 2%. You went down 2%. You went down, you stayed the same. You went down, you went up a little bit. You see, generally, you went down 3%. So generally speaking, the thing that we're seeing is you're pretty much just seeing the Republicans underperformed their margins. Now, it's the question becomes, is it going to be enough to where the Democrats could take the lead and win? That's going to be the big question. That's going to be the golden question, because if those votes that are being lost can be made up, it's game for them. Let's see. I think Republicans will win both races. CNN said Warnock is up by 4%. Let me check that, because this updates regularly, so let me just check. Warnock is up by 7 and Ossof is up by 6. According to this, I don't know. Sometimes the report results, they might be ahead of me. I will make sure those numbers are updated. Let me see what their CNN website says, though, because I actually find that kind of interesting. Georgia Senate runoff. So let's go to the runoff elections mapped on CNN. Let's check up the Perdue-Ossof race. Right here, we are going to see what they currently have. So CNN, I want to compare these two because the New York Times usually has pretty good, pretty interesting. Let's see here. No, here he does have. Oh, this is the wrong race. But let's see. 52 to 47. Here they have it as. We have to go down because this is the Warnock race. You see now the Warnock, the needle has been going a little bit further towards Lefleur. So it's still not over, but it's looking a little bit unlikely. 53 to 47. 52.6 to 47. So yeah, I think the New York Times is behind, but the CNN website has been pretty laggy. I like using CNN for election results, but the New York Times just is generally better and it's less laggy, so that's better. I think at this point in time, we're just gonna end up seeing whoever wins going to be winning by a narrow margin. Yeah, the race is narrowing now. It's only now like 6 points difference. Yeah, and definitely it's been narrowing down over the last couple of hours or minutes because we have been here less than an hour. Yeah, we're actually getting a bigger amount of the votes in. Ready? See? Yeah, difference only 60,000 votes with 1 million votes reporting 6% difference. And again, it's still tilting Warnock, but the expected margin is like not moving further over there, towards the left. So here are your maps. I think here we have, you see, Ossof is still performing very well. Here, 52.7 to 47.3. That's what we had over there. So I think CNN is ahead, but we have the New York Times, which I personally consider a little bit better. So, at this point in time, all I can say is it's looking like it will be a very good night for senators, for Senate candidates, Warnock and Ossof. At this point in time, if you were to ask me, I would say if you're a Democrat, you should be happy. Because it's looking very likely that Ossof and Warnock will win based on the results we have already and all those things. So yeah, we're getting more votes. We just got more votes, and I think we got a pretty big, decent chunk for Perdue now that I'm checking right now. Let's go check on that. From what I'm seeing, yeah, we got a decent chunk of votes right now. Let's go back here to our log of votes and what votes we're getting. That's important. Let's see. I think this race is probably going to be called soon if the current trends continue. You see more votes for Warnock. Let's see. The Republicans have yet to overperform their expectations. And at this rate, how we're currently calling, I think we're going to be able to call these races soon because, the Democrats are just overperforming in general. Every single one. I think we're going to be able to call it till then. Until the ballots are finished, we never call anything. That's true, but after a certain point, it's mathematically almost impossible. It's making projections, but it's officially called when the results are certified by the state Secretary of State. Keep that in mind, guys. Overall, I think we might be able to call this race pretty soon. I want to see if Decision Desk. So I'm checking this on another tab. So you guys are still seeing the New York Times, but I really want to check if Decision Desk, because Decision Desk usually calls races pretty early on. So I remember they called a lot of these like primaries. They called like a lot of the 2020 electoral map very early. Let's see the Senate runoffs right now. I don't think anyone should have called this race. But according to this, yeah, no race has been called here. 25% of the vote in. Is that what we have here? Because I think that the Decision Desk might be ahead. Yeah, Decision Desk is fast. So Decision Desk is fast. So I'm going to see if I can log in here through Decision Desk. Let me just see Decision Desk HQ. I think it's something that we should take a look at right here. So let's take a look at the, oops, I think I pressed the wrong button. Let's take a look at the results dashboard, because that's what I like looking at. It's a lot better. Let's see if it loads. Let's see. Decision Desk is currently, yeah, you see, oh wait, -1. Okay, that's all the elections. I was supposed to say -1 seat. They called the race already. Yeah, 28% of the vote in. Not looking so great for Lefleur. And here we can compare them side to side. We're seeing about 2,000 votes more for Warnock than for Perdue, or than for John Ossof. It's gonna be tighter, but I think the ticket splitting, it's happening for sure. But it's really, yeah. For example, here you notice a big difference between Lefleur. You notice a 6,000 vote difference. So I think overall, it's not looking too great for Lefleur. There is ticket splitting. So Perdue 55 to 60% chance of winning. Lefleur 42 52 of your mind. You know, I'm not sure, but at this point, I'm really not sure. To say, like, I think Lefleur is going to lose. Mark my words right now. I may be wrong, and I'm not calling this, but I think Lefleur is going to lose at the rate that things are going. Again, just take the results that we have. And I think what's more interesting to see here is the trends, because after a certain point, you can expect, you see Warnock is moving further and further. Yeah, this New York Times forecast is amazing for those of you guys looking for a good website to look at election results. But here we have 14-14, so they pretty much stayed the same. They were expected. Here in all vote types, the Democrats went down a little bit. So that might be a little bit of a saving grace, I guess, for them. But generally speaking, down the list, more often than not, Democrats are overperforming and Republicans are heavily underperforming. Again, it's always interesting to see. Ticket splitting is for losers. If it's 50-50, there's no Senate majority there. Technically speaking, no, but the person that would take the role is whoever the vice president is. If we had to guess, each senator will be called. If I had to guess, I would say Warnock would win by around a point, and Ossof might win by around like 0.2%. That's what I'm thinking right now. And I calculated that by the difference that could be between the ticket splitting, because there's going to be a lot of ticket splitting between Ossof and Warnock, but mostly between Republicans who don't like Kelly Lefleur, because I think it's pretty safe to say Kelly Lefleur is an unpopular figure. Votes come in like this all the time, everywhere. That's true. And all of these votes are counted together, or they're just reported together, because they usually count a lot of votes and then the county reports them. It's not like they count every vote and that tabulation goes straight to the media. 30% reporting. I mean, we're getting in there. I mean, we have a pretty decent amount of the vote in. Again, I would notice that this is how I can tell it's going to be more favorable for Warnock. Margin of victories is going to be a little bit different. 1% compared to half a percentage point. So Ossof is currently doing half of what victory-wise of what Warnock is doing. So again, I find that ironic, because if you guys would see the campaigning, it would be Ossof carrying Warnock, not the other way around. Do you think it's looking good for the Dems based on the outstanding vote? Yes. And not really based off the outstanding vote, but rather in every single vote reporting that we've gotten, Democratic counties, Republican counties, comparing it to what they had in 20. And for example, let's just use counties that have almost completely reported. those counties, all of them, majoritarily Republican counties, Republicans are underperforming by 3 points, 2 points on average. And we take a look at these individual vote batches coming in. We constantly see the Democrats overperforming, Republicans underperforming. What time and time again. So that's why I say it's not looking so good. So I think we might be able to make a call on this race fairly soon for the Democrats, maybe for Warnock first. Republicans underperforming Trump numbers. They are underperforming Trump numbers. Why do women lean Democrat and men lean Republican? I just think it comes down to a lot of different factors. I'm not really sure what to tell you, but it's a lot of things. Okay. Yeah, so at this point in time, we're looking at a very interesting race in Georgia. What do you guys think? I really want to know what you guys think. Based on the information we have right now, where we have a lot of votes in, we have a lot of things happening, where do you think this race will fall? Do you think President Trump lead phone calls may have affected the way people voted? What's your personal opinion? Okay, so with the Trump calls, that definitely could have had an effect, especially on people that are voting for Lefleur. Because again, Lefleur completely committed to objecting to results. That's something else that's not related to this. But at the end of the day, in my personal opinion, those calls, like, it was like another situation where they cut and clipped the tape. So first of all, I think it's not even a big deal. Because if you listen to the whole thing, he was just asking, like, explaining to him, we need the 15,000 votes. And, like finding them in the sense of, like, I know where they are. I know that. And he presented the evidence that he had. So I would say it was, like, nothing out of the ordinary. It's just, like, kind of, like, just talking about results. It wasn't bribing. It wasn't demanding in any way. So I think it's just an exaggerated ploy by the Democrats. And if you have to think about it, the Republican Party in Georgia must be very mad because at the end of the day, a Republican official had to tape the call between the Secretary of State and President Trump. I'm starting to think Ossof will win. I'm starting to think that too. I think we're seeing a very big shift when it comes to these races. 20%, 7% in on Warnock. If you had to guess, what time do you think the races will be called? I think we might be seeing Warnock's race be called before 11, and then the Ossof Perdue race, I think we're going to be seeing called probably by tomorrow morning. Let's see. Aren't the Democrats underperforming in Atlanta? I think you might be right. I mean, hold on. Let me check. Which channel do you think is the least biased towards a party? I think ABC is the least biased. That's true. I think I like ABC when it comes to political reporting. Let's see. According to CNN. Remember, all these results, they get reported at different times. It's to where the decision desk can post it. You see, Warnock, 40% reporting we have here. 40% reporting, and Warnock has a pretty considerable possibility of winning. It's looking very good. Again, we're getting more votes for the Democrats. Projected plus 16. That's a plus 3 with 53,000 votes. That's 1,000 votes more. I mean, adding these up, we already have like 10,000 votes. Just based off now, the Republicans would lose. And this race was only decided by around, and it was a little bit more. It was like, how much was this race decided by in November? Wasn't it like 50,000 votes? No, I think that was too much. But anyways, you already have 10,000 votes lost. Oh, you're from the Netherlands. Cool. Oh, yeah, I remember you from election night. Fox News said that later more in-person votes could come in. From 2020 videos, that could be true. I think that definitely we're going to see that. However, I think that might not be enough to overturn what they have right now. But let's see. Georgia counts so slow. A fun fact, did you know that they actually did not have all the results reporting from the runoff, like from the first elections? They just stopped counting and they left it there because they didn't have to finish counting. So that's interesting. They're technically speaking, they're still counting votes from the other elections. They're 99% reporting. Something ridiculous like that. Yeah, from that election night, from the Markey Kennedy race. Right. 83% of Fulton County is reporting. That probably means that the Democrats kind of are going to be stuck. They're just going to be going downhill a little bit. Yep, and I think it becomes very apparent. Plus 11%. Let's see what decision desk. How far are they? They had it here like at 40% of the vote. Oops. Oh no, my computer screen froze. Okay, I'm back. Let's see. Yeah, we got a lot of votes. Oh god, 40% of the vote. It's still tilting Warnock. Let's see Fulton County. Let's see Fulton County is at 82% of the vote. And yeah, again here, Fulton County Republicans are underperforming in Atlanta. That's important to see. Republicans are underperforming everywhere, so that's going to be a very big problem. How much vote is in Columbus and Savannah? In Columbus, you have a pretty decent amount, and it's more African American leading, so black vote. It would be more, and Savannah is more generally speaking a Republican area of the state. It maybe has some Democratic trends, but it's more moderate, I guess. And here you don't have that much vote. It's not that much compared to what you have up here. Just these counties alone, if you like blow out completely, and you can get a close race everywhere else, you win the race. We're getting a lot of Republican go. That's a big chunk of votes. 341,000 votes coming in, and it was plus 41 for the Democrats. 1.1. I think Warnock's going to win. I think they're going to be calling this race soon. And if these two Senate races go the way that they're currently looking like, very big for the Democrats, very big for Stacey Abrams. So is mail-in or no? It actually, we can take a look at that. What is currently being counted? Currently, we're seeing all voter types, all vote types, most early, all vote types. It's pretty much all mixed in. So it's a mix of everything. Do you think Warnock's going to win? I think at this point, Warnock's going to win. One, Lefleur is just generally a little bit unpopular, I guess. But, so yeah, I'm stickling to my I mean, no, not any. I mean, I will say that if one of the Republicans win, I think it's going to be David Perdue. That's all I'll say. I would like to. I'm going to stick to it because that's what I said and that's what I projected. I'm going to stick to my prediction, but not considering what I predicted, I would say that you might be seeing for a double Democratic whammy. What is your take on the John Ossof and his campaign? You know, I must say that John Ossof has run a very strong campaign, if you will, a stronger campaign than Raphael Warnock. Now, why is Ossof underperforming Warnock? I think it just comes down to having Warnock has so much easier of an opponent. Kelly Lefleur is very easy to beat because she is very robotic, and to a lot of moderate Republicans, to moderate independents as well, it's hard to support Kelly Lefleur because she really doesn't appeal to them. So I think that's something that's rather interesting. Yeah, I mean, right now it's not looking that promising for Lefleur. I mean, we have 40% of the vote in. It's 10. Of course, there is still enough votes to overturn the rest of this, but it's not looking so good right now. So it's something to think about. Let's see. I mean, I'm going to tell you this. I think that Warnock right now, has been easily targeted. He's been easily marketed as a radical liberal. That's actually kind of worked. However, he is still in the lead. I'm surprised Warnock's leading. And I mean, I don't know, but for me, when I've done election night coverage, at this time, I don't know, for some reason I'm always wrong, and sometimes it's really narrow. I remember on the Kansas primary night, I don't know if you guys were here that night. Oh, I don't think I went live that night, but I thought Chris Kobach was going to win. That didn't end up happening. In the Massachusetts night, I thought Joe Kennedy was going to win, but Ed Markey ended up hitting very big. Lefleur's a robot. Biden has dementia. Carol, just I think from what I'm guessing, you're a Republican. I don't know if I'm assuming. If it were up to you, who would you vote into the Senate? Let's see. For some reason, we have more votes reporting on this race than this race, although there is a same ballot. That's interesting to see. Senator Kelly Loeffler, who was appointed for a seat in 2019, is seeking we just got more votes. In 2019, as seeking to finish a term that ends in 22, is vying against the Reverend Raphael, who leads Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta. I think at this point in time, the Republicans made a big mistake or not the Republicans, but the Republican voters made a mistake in nominating Lefleur instead of Collins, because I think they could have saved it with Collins. But Warnock is doing extremely well, plus 1.2 margin estimated victory. I think, generally speaking, with Republicans, the support is down. The Ossof race, let's just look at the Ossof race. We haven't looked at that race in a little bit because the first race in the map. Let's take a look at the Ossof race. In the Ossof race, so Ossof race, it's tilting towards Ossof, and Ossof has a margin estimated of victory plus 0.8. And then the results, 55.2 to 44.8. See, I think it's something. It's going to be a very big victory for Stacey Abrams. She really made that happen. Do you think Trump will claim fraud if Republicans don't win these races? I wouldn't be surprised. At this point, he has really nothing else to lose. He's headed out. He probably knows that, and it's going to be interesting to see. Abrams versus Kemp in 2020 would be awesome. Yeah, I would really like to see that race, and I think in 2022, more likely than not, I think we might be able to see Stacey Abrams win the governorship. 40% of ballots counted. Yeah, we already had 42% of votes reporting. This race is reporting a lot quicker than we thought. We just had a votes change. 966, 701 to 784, 2282. It's not narrowing down that much. It's stayed pretty static for the last couple of minutes. Plus 10, plus 11. It's gonna be tough. It's not gonna be as easy, but there's still a chance for the Republicans. And is that chance super big? Is that chance? I wouldn't say so. But at this point in time, very interesting race we have here. 64% chance that Warnock wins with a 1.2% chance, or 1.2. Let's see. Again, perfect example here. Republicans keep on going down from their expectations. I'm really surprised. You're not a Republican? Okay. How are Dems performing in northern Georgia? The Democrats in northern Georgia, let me check. Northern Georgia, let's take a look at the map of what we have so far. In northern Georgia, up from Atlanta, all these counties, there's barely anything in, but they're not doing that great. What I'm really not excited, but I guess pretty much surprised to see is that these big Democratic counties, most specifically Fulton, is almost fully reporting. That's another thing that's going to be interesting to watch as we see that. I know they won't win, but they are overperforming. Yeah, I think in northern Georgia, 64% for Warnock is a good sign. Yeah, hold on. Well, 64%. He's at 55. I don't know. Maybe you're talking about a specific county. You're talking about the win. Oh, the win probability. Yes. Yeah, we're almost at the leaning point. I think it's more likely than not this race is going to be called within the next hour or two. I wouldn't be surprised if this is called in the next hour or two. It's going to be interesting to watch for sure. We were looking around for 3 million votes tonight or less. Yeah, that's what they're expecting, around 3 million to 3.5 million. This election is expected to exceed 2016 numbers in turn because Democrats were able to get everyone out to vote. Yeah, no, yeah, I know. 64. So, guys, I'm on a delay, so I don't get these comments. You don't see it when I actually see it. So 64%, yeah. Pretty solid. Do you stick to my prediction? I'm gonna stick by it because I gave you guys my word. That's what I predicted. But I think right now it's looking more like I've changed my mind for a Warnock Ossof double whammy. They're probably going to end up winning the race, both of them together. I mean, right now we're just like really waiting for votes. That's pretty much what we're because we've gotten to the point where a lot of the counties stopped. Like we're to the point where votes are gonna get counted a little bit slower. But at this point, there's really not much to fight for. I mean, the Warnock is probably gonna end up winning. Ossof is probably gonna do it as well, but 10% difference in that race. 58% chance for Ossof, so that's interesting. (24-24). So yeah, we're seeing with these counties that are reporting pretty much same to similar results. Ossof went up by 1 point. Yeah, I think he did because he was at +9 only. Now I think he's up +10. He's still up +9, but you have 44% of the vote reporting. Warnock has cracked the 1 million vote mark. He's now leading by around almost 200,000 votes. I'm not sure if Kelly Lefleur is going to be able to make that up. Ossof is only up by margin. He's it's a little bit less. It's considerably less, but I think we're getting close to probably making a call. And we are going to see. This is giving me like a little bit of what the Georgia the runoffs in 2008 kind of looked like, where Jim Martin, he had a pretty nice turnout in the regular election, but then it's kind of be the opposite, I guess. And then the opposite party did very good at the runoffs, the Republicans. I mean, I think the GOP didn't contest these enough, and I think that's going to be a great problem with them. The all-night GOP don't take lead. I think they won't take the lead. Do you know if these percent chance take into account outstanding vote? Yeah, they do take into account the outstanding vote. So they take all the different forecasts, all these different things. Do you expect any of the two Republicans to concede if they do fact lose? They're going to have to at some point or another, because I think for the Republican Party as a whole, it's going to be a disaster if they don't end up going. I think Perdue's no-show at the debate against Ossof came back to haunt him. I think it did. And I mean, I think what really hurt him is how they pictured him. Instead of like changing it to a town hall style or something where Ossof like they literally put the two podiums and one of them was empty. And it was funny because Ossof would turn to the empty podium and he would talk to it. Kind of signifying like, hey, the person that wants to run, he's actually doesn't care, so he's not here. It's actually that was a very good question, Kevin. Like George is affirming. Yeah, I mean, we're getting close to getting these results. I'm actually excited to see. At this point, Vice President Kamala Harris might actually have a lot of power as president of the Senate. And again, it's been a long time since we had a 50-50 Senate. So yeah, it's been a really long time. I think with the 50-50 Senate, and the Congress is going to be the slimmest it's ever been. 50-50 majority is absolutely nothing. And then in the House, like 6 House seats is absolutely nothing. I mean, most states have more than 6 House seats, and there's 50 states. So I think Congress is going to be a big problem for Joe Biden at this point, where he is going to struggle with that. Guys, I don't know if any of you noticed, but it kind of switched up the studio, where I have the American flag now, kind of the center, and then I have the Biden Trump. I'm gonna get new flags, guys, for the studio, or I'm gonna do something new with it. But I don't know if you guys like the American flag in the background, because I kind of like how it looks on the live streams. And then maybe I'll just get new flags, or just get signs instead of flags. Tell me what you guys think. Why did Perdue not attend that debate? He didn't want to go. 50% in how they've been counting extremely fast. I think it's even more now. Let's check 40. Here we have 45%. Let me update. 45. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good right now for the Democrats. Still 1.2. This has stayed the same for a little bit. It hasn't changed that much. We haven't gotten any new votes in like 2 minutes, so we're in the waiting game, I guess. Yeah, so thank you guys. I think I really like how it looks, the American flag like behind, because the lights that I use, they really reflect off of it and it looks nice. So maybe I'll keep that. I think I think I might have to get like these two flags back here. I'll get them, like I'll get new flags. Maybe like I don't know, like what do you guys think? Should I get like yard signs and put like the yard signs, like put them on the wall on my studio? I think that would look cool, guys. I don't know. You know what I'll do? I'll put up a poll on my community tab. For those of you that are not subscribed, take this great opportunity to subscribe, and maybe you can participate in those things in the community tab. That's a great opportunity, guys. So yeah, we're just waiting for more results right now. We just got a big vote, 50,000 votes. They're counting pretty fast. Again, it goes down a little bit because they think the Republicans did actually overperform here by 1%. It's 50,000 votes. That's like 500 votes. Let's see. Let's check the full. No, this is that page. Okay. 54% to 45.5% to 9%. No, 11%. No, 9% difference. So yeah, these races are narrowing down. But Lefleur, again, is falling behind. This is by no means very, very good for them. Thank you, Carol. Hope to see a lot of you more. GOP did not do good. Yeah. For the GOP, this looks like it's going to be a very big mess disaster for them because they were expecting to do good tonight. And unfortunately for them, that did not end up materializing. And it's going to be hard. And we just got more votes. Sorry. Oh, how many did it say? How much did it say there? Hold on. 10,000 votes more. Warnock is up by 163,000 votes. The race is looking very good for Warnock. Perdue, Ossof. Let's see. 149. Yeah. Wait a minute. 149 compared to what did it say up here for Ossof, for Warnock? Oh no, yeah. So it's a 20,000 vote difference between Ossof and Warnock. I think that's interesting. I think that's something definitely that we have to definitely take a look at because ultimately 20,000 votes is a lot. I mean, in a close race, that could be the difference between having a senator for one party and another. So that's going to be important. So yeah, that's a decent lead. Yeah, 160,000 votes. I think they should call this race pretty soon. That's like if the 2020 presidential election was only won by 10 points, this is 16 times Joe Biden's margin in the election. So again, that is very interesting to watch. It's also exciting to see election night unfold. In a little bit, guys, like maybe in around 20 minutes, I'm going to log off for today, I guess, and go watch CNN election results because that's something I like doing. So, but I'll stay here for around like 20, 30 more minutes. But I think that's something I want to know what you guys prefer for election nights. What election nights channels do you like watching the most? Do you like watching CNN, MSNBC, CBS? I personally like CNN's coverage. They have a very good coverage. I think it's definitely the best, probably followed by NBC News. I mean, and it's interesting because they have different formats and songs. I like the Fox News election song. It's very catchy. Let's see. They have a new notification from New York Times. Let's see. Raphael Warnock talked excitedly about the racism in his campaign, referring to the United States legacy as COVID-19. We should let's take a look and read right now all these different notifications. Kelly Lefleur is only the second woman to serve as senator from Georgia. The other, Rebecca Lanier Felton, served for 1 day in 1922. 40% of the estimated ballots have been counted. Democrats hold lead. I mean, that's strong. I mean, that's interesting to watch. Target started Democratic firm estimates Democrats has improved the share of the early vote by 2.8%. Again, very good projections for the Democrats. They're heavily overperforming. Let's take a look here. This is what's still okay. This is important. What has been counted, what still remains. So very little election day vote has actually been counted at this point in time. Something that's interesting. So so that's 25% compared to 3% of what has been counted. So yeah, so currently from what has still to yet be counted, we have Lefleur plus 5, Warnock plus 10, and it splits almost 50-50, I think. With what we have, it's expected to see a victory for Raphael Warnock. Guys, I really think that it's going to end up being called in the next hour. And, guys, I forgot to make the slides for the I wanted to project, do a CNN projection and come up with, the slides that I usually show through my election nights. So I apologize. So I really want to do that. So yeah, that didn't happen to me. But what I will do, I don't know what if you guys are interested in me making more election nights, maybe the results of tonight, and kind of show them play by play of what ended up happening. At 8:39 p.m. we got 100,000 more votes and up to like that. I don't know if you guys are going to be interested in seeing that, but if you guys are, I'll definitely go and make it. Yeah, I mean, I think Democrats are starting to pull clearly, if slightly ahead in our estimates. As they're outperforming our expectations across all voting sets. The only good news for the GOP is that election day turnout is a hair higher than we expected. Republicans' hopes rest on the election day vote. There's still a lot left. Maybe they'll do better with what's left than what's counted. With the race so close, they'll have to do only a little bit better, and that than they have done so far to fight back a dead heat. So yeah, that's true. Red Blue Politics. Oh, yeah, I think he closed his channel, but I'm not sure. So yeah, guys, that's important that the Democrats, so according to their decision desk, it's not over for the GOP yet. Yet it's unlikely, but they just have to do very well with the in-person turnout. Let's Talk Election is a good channel. I like his channel. Only thing is sometimes I don't like is sometimes how he subtly talks more about opinions when he's talking more about videos. Not about videos, but about analysis and things like that. But I'm not really gonna get into it because it's something that's slightly technical that I rather won't do, I guess. But he has a pretty decent channel. I think Ossof looking better now. Let's check on Ossof. Because Ossof plus 0.7. Ossof is pulling up a little bit, but like someone said, I think that was who said that? The thing about the debate. I have to scroll back, but it's something that I don't know why it came on this one. Let's see. The election news. Let me just go to this other tab. Ossof plus 7. Okay, the race is narrowing down. It definitely is. Lefleur is catching up a little bit. And then Ossof is looking pretty good right now. I mean, he has a lead of 138,000 votes. So 8,000 more votes. He's 134,000 votes. Yeah, Perdue's catching up a little bit. I think if I had to estimate, with the vote we still have outstanding, it's probably going to go to the Republicans because we have a somewhat large lead for the Democrats right now. But still, do you think Lefleur's plus 27 on what's left for election day vote is a bad sign for Lefleur? Yeah, I think it's not looking so good for Lefleur. 50% of the votes in, that's very big. I just want to say, I hope other agree. I think for a small channel, you give a good content which isn't biased. Just wanted to give you the praise. Thank you, George. I'm working on the channel and growing it and giving you guys the best content, best quality content. I have some big stuff in the works right now with the channel where I'm looking to start making. I don't know if you guys want to hear more about like analysis of, because throughout this like kind of I guess lame duck period where we have no elections going on. I don't know if you guys want to hear about 2022. I don't know if you guys want to hear about 2024. I don't know if you guys want to hear like present day, like if something big happens, like and there's a big bill in Congress, if you want me to talk about it. I for sure can do that, but you guys just have to tell me. I'll do this. A Google form in the description, and then you guys can vote and tell me what you guys want to see. We have right now 51% of the we're over the halfway mark. This race is gonna get called soon, guys. Yeah, the Democrats are definitely overperforming. I mean, Trump may take too much of the blame if the Republicans lose. He stuck doubts. You know, I'm reading this update right now, and I think this is true. At the end of the day, if these Republicans lose, it's gonna be because of Trump. Because Trump really did all the bidding for them, and unfortunately, with the messages, I think it's gonna be hard and tough for them. This kind of feels like election year where Trump was leading by 7 points and it's starting narrowing down. Yes, it definitely does. But again, I'm not sure if it's enough. I mean, it could be, but I'm not sure. I just checked the LT, and he said if you have a bet on Lefleur, Perdue, take it off now. Yes, because it's not looking so good for them. I would have to agree with him. At this point in time, I thought the ticket was in this way. I thought that Perdue and Warnock were going to be the winners. Yeah, not anymore, because it's not looking too strong for the Republican Party. And for the Republican Party, it's going to be tough going on because they would have lost a presidential race followed by 2 Senate races in Georgia. That just gives me raises the question: what's going to happen in 2022? And I think Georgia might be the next Arizona. It's happening a lot quicker than we thought. Arizona, if they have two senators that are Democrats from Georgia, you would have said that in 2016. People would have thought you were crazy. And I think that looking forward, I think simply the country is changing. Georgia is changing. While some states are moving further to the right, there are states that are moving to the left. I'm not saying the Republicans will. I'm just saying that it will narrow down. Oh, in that case, yeah, it's going to narrow down. Definitely, but I'm not sure how much. Yeah, I'm not really sure like by what margin, I guess, but it's gonna end up going by. I think we're gonna be in for a close race, but it's gonna be able to be called early on. It's like you guys remember, I think it was the Arizona race in the presidential election. It was called like years in advance by the AP and the Fox News, and then they actually ended up calling the race like years later. When the race ended up like getting really close, a lot of news networks were almost like contemplating like taking their calls off. I'm still confident in red Texas despite all this. That's true. I think the difference with Texas is for Texas to go blue, you're really dealing with the Hispanic population down in the southern border. Now, surprisingly, the Republican Party has been able to make inroads. Donald Trump performed very well with southern Texas Hispanics, similar to how he did in southern Florida. So I think that really is just helping out Trump because in for example, in the suburbs of Houston, Dallas, Austin, you saw Biden and the Democrats overperform. So just to see. It's like Florida. I think Florida won't go blue at a statewide or presidential level for the next, I would say, anywhere from 15 to 20 years. I think there are no candidates that really can hit the parts that they need to win in Florida on the Democratic side. They could get close, but I don't think they can ultimately win. And since like Iowa and Ohio almost completely out of the picture, I think at those points, those states are likely Republican states. They're going to be in the similar stage of what Missouri was in 2012. It went handily for Romney. But again, those are states that are solidifying. And with this election, I think it's interesting that we saw bellwethers be wrong in Ohio. Ohio has almost always voted with the winner of the presidential election. In this point, they were wrong. You hope Julian Castro runs for Senate in 2024 or 2026. I think that would be something interesting to see. I think at the end of the day, he's gonna have a better chance beating John Cornyn than he has of beating Ted Cruz. I can't believe that we have blue Georgia and red Florida. I know it's very interesting in a red South or North Carolina because I mean Georgia is like if we talk about like statewide, Georgia is closer to North Carolina than it is to Florida politically. So that's interesting. Florida will not go Democrat until 2038, 38 or 2040. Yes, I think that's true. I think at this point in time in Florida, it's going to be very tough, as most of these Republicans are Hispanics, like the ones that are coming out of there. I mean, I just take a look. With the exception of Ron DeSantis, Ron DeSantis comes from the upper north part of Florida. He still was able to appeal to Latino voters. But suppose that in one of the next governor races, you see Lieutenant Governor Jeanette Nunez run. She's going to heavily appeal to those Hispanic voters that gave Donald Trump 15% more of the vote than they did in 2016. I'm not ready to call anything, but Khan tweeted this. We actually know the turnout in DeKalb County was higher than the model currently estimates. That's not good news for Republicans. Yes, and I think it's really coming into that. Tesla could go Democrat in 2028 and North Carolina in 2024. I agree with that. And especially with Texas doing very well, or North Carolina doing better with creating the suburbs and suburbs growing, I think that is definitely a possibility at this point in time. Yeah, I mean, oh God, we have 63% of the vote, or no, that's 54% of the vote reporting. Yeah, we haven't gotten a lot of the vote reporting. But yeah, the Democrats are definitely overperforming. If you're a Republican out there and you still have some hopes of the Senate, I wouldn't be on cloud nine right now. Let's just check one more time right now. Arizona could be leaner likely Democrat by 2035. I mean, maybe. Yeah, I mean, we're not getting as many results right now as we were getting. So that's unfortunate, I guess. Although the races narrowed down a little bit. +5. If the trends continue, I'm just curious to see why is it going this way? So I think it's on this one that we can see. So yeah, in the last batch of poll closings, again, this is important. If we take a look at this, so okay, all the big ones are Democrats, but like the smaller counties got a lot more Republican votes. But we're starting to get big Republican counties, on average 50,000, and yeah, they're underperforming still, but not by as much, so that's good. Yeah, the race is narrowing down. I mean, a couple minutes ago, Warnock was at 1.2 and Ossof was at 0.6. The races are still tilting Warnock and tilting Ossof. Yeah, you know, it's still interesting to see how it's not that far. There's kind of strange from to Texas reporters. Is it true that voting stopped working earlier in Georgia State? Are Dems trying to steal the election? Oh, God. I've still got a feeling that Republicans would win both seats. You know, at this point, I'm not really sure because now that I'm seeing those votes come in, I think it's good thing for the Republicans. They have constantly getting more votes. It's still going to be a them though. Like Carol is saying, Ossoff is on track to net 400,000 votes out of advance vote with 56.4. Perdue on track to get net 3s. So by those calculations, Perdue would lose the election. And yeah, so guys, I think I'm gonna end it here for today. I'm gonna definitely do a video of this afterwards, after everything occurs, to talk about why these elections ended up going the way they did. But our final for tonight's live stream is 1.1 Warnock they're expecting, and then 0.6 for Ossof they're expecting. I really want to see what ends up happening in this race, as the United States Senate really lies upon this. So hope you guys enjoyed this live stream, and I'm gonna go back to doing weekly live stream as soon as possible. So yeah, so hope you enjoyed the live stream, and goodbye.